Hi, I'm Dr. Abiola Ajayi. I'm the MD CEO of ROA Specialist Hospital here in Lagos, Nigeria, and I am happy to discuss nutrition and weight loss today. So a topic or something I discuss with a lot of my patients is the dietary implications of disease, meaning what can we do in our diet to improve our disease states? And the first thing people think about with diet is weight loss. But interestingly enough, these same principles can be applied. I've used them for infertility cases, patients with PCOS, people that have non-specific, difficult to diagnose problems. They just don't feel right or have this pain or that pain. Will change their diet, and we've been having fantastic results. So I oftentimes will send people to watch a larger or longer video on YouTube, maybe with a colleague of mine or one of my longer videos, but I just want to give some of the basic principles today. And then, of course, if you have questions or you want further detail, you can contact us. Contact me through our social media channels or the hospital, or you can call directly. So I try to avoid using terms like keto diet, or in the US we used to say Atkins diet, because a lot of people, once they hear that term, they automatically start thinking about one thing. And really, it's really just the principles of what we're talking about. But I'm going to combine some of the principles that I enjoy, that I use. I've been following this plan for almost 2 years now, and it includes some ketogenic diet as well as intermittent fasting. So the first part we'll talk about is the diet. Especially here in Nigeria, we all eat too much carbohydrates. So the main principle of diet is remove the carbohydrates. Remove all the sugars from your diet, all added sugars, all hidden sugars, and carbohydrates. And you're going to replace those with fiber from vegetables. So you have your fiber from vegetables, you have your protein from your animal products or things like beans, and then that's the main part of your diet. One of the reasons why you would eat this way is when you eat carbohydrates or things, and let me first say carbohydrates are basically sugars. So things that count as carbohydrates: semo, wheat, oats, bread, rice, potatoes, what else do we like to eat? Cake, sodas, all of those sodas, minerals, all of those things have either sugars or carbohydrates, and carbohydrates are just complex sugars. So we're trying to drop all of that and replace it with fruits and vegetables, and primarily vegetables, tomatoes, green peppers, yellow peppers, red peppers, onions, garlic, all those kinds of things, cucumbers, carrots, all of those kind of things are lovely. So a typical Nigerian plate is like this. We have a big mound of rice with some stew, some tomato-based stew on top, and maybe one piece of meat. Now we're changing the plate and having up to maybe 4 tablespoons of your carbs. That's like your rice. You have just 4 tablespoons, not 4 serving spoons, which are like this size. That's what you normally eat. 4 tablespoons, which are this size. 4 tablespoons of rice, but you're not going to put plenty of vegetables. So one of the ones I like, I'll dice onions, carrots, cucumbers, have some roasted garlic, and have a mound of that and put your stew on that. So that's in lieu or in place of your rice. You can mix in about 4 tablespoons of rice in there if you like it, and then cover that with your stew, twice as much as you normally would eat, and then 2 to 3 times as much meat as you normally would. The philosophy that red meat and animal products are bad and the whole grains are good, that philosophy is wrong. That philosophy is causing a lot of obesity, causing a lot of diabetes. You can just take a little look at history. For the last 50 to 70 years, we have demonized red meat. We have demonized animal proteins. Everything is low fat, low this. But what has happened to some of the diseases? Obesity has gone through the roof. High blood pressure, diabetes gone through the roof. Cancer gone through the roof. We've not made any improvements. In fact, we've gotten far worse. Back in the day when we ate animal products, grass-fed beef and things like that, we were far healthier based on obesity, diabetes, and the such. Yeah, then we died of communicable diseases, infectious diseases, people smoked a lot, those kind of things. But nowadays, that's not the issue. But nowadays, we replaced all those things with carbohydrates, and the carbohydrates are killing us. The first thing you'll see is sugar, killing us. The next thing you'll see is something called maltose or maltodextrin. That's just another type of sugar. You can see something called fructose, sucrose, high fructose, corn syrup, cornstarch, corn products. All of these are just different names for sugars, and the sugars are going to be the death of us. A small story I'll say is that about 2 years ago, I weighed about 260 something pounds. That's about 120 kilos. I'm now down to 100 kilos or 200 pounds, all by following this diet plan. So a typical meal for me would be 2 to 4 pieces of chicken with a large amount of diced cucumber, onion, because I like onions, garlic, and some carrots, and that's it. If I'm out of the house and I need to eat fast food or prepared food, I order just the meat. So I'll order 2 pieces of turkey or 2 pieces of chicken or 3 pieces of beef. That you should not be afraid to eat that way. A little disclaimer before you try any diet, of course, see your doctor. If you have any peculiar issues, this diet may not be for you, but I'm speaking from experience using with my patients. Usually by the time we switch to this, we see a lot of improvement. So we got off track a bit. We were talking about the plate, and a plate in Nigeria, which will have that rice, we want to substitute that rice for our vegetables, and we want to now eat our meats on the side of it. You can eat, honestly, as much of that as you like. Later on, we'll talk about some more advanced principles about the makeup, of the different plate, but I'm trying to keep this video as simple as possible. Now, when we now look at the intermittent fasting part, so I've talked about the keto part, and what keto diet means is you're trying to generate something called ketogenesis, where your body turns into fat burning. Okay, I'm not so much worried about that as I'm worried about the composition of your plate. So just to recap, we've talked about reducing or removing all sugars, reducing or removing all carbohydrates. For the first 3 weeks, your body may crave it, but if you're able to do it for 21 straight days, you'll feel that you won't even need them anymore. Now, when I eat a lot of carbohydrates, I immediately get tired and sleepy, and I don't want to do it again. So the second part is the intermittent fasting part, and all that is you're picking a window of time where you're going to be eating. So the other periods of time, your body will now try to be burning fats. You have a 24-hour day. You take, it's the ideal is to do 8 hours of eating and 16 hours of fasting. So when you're fasting, you're drinking water. It's not a dry fast. You can drink water, tea, or coffee with no sugar or no honey. I typically just drink water. Then during the 8 hours, I eat up to 4 meals in that 8 hours, but you can eat minimum of 2 to 4 meals in that 8 hours, and you want to eat your meals like we discussed. Lots of protein, lots of fiber from the vegetables, lots of sauce and your tomato or whatever you like, and very little or no carbs if you can do it. At the beginning, when you're trying to switch over to eating during this schedule, it may be difficult. So I tend to tell people do 12 hours on and 12 hours off. And then later on, push it to 10 hours, then push down to 8 hours. Now, the 8 hours, some people eat from 4 p.m. to 12 midnight, which is fine. Some people eat from 12 in the afternoon to 8 p.m. It really doesn't matter as long as you stay consistent. So what you do on Monday, you do on Tuesday, you should do on Wednesday, so forth and so on. Your body wants to have a rhythm. Your body wants to have a routine. And when you can put it into that routine, then your body will help you by burning fats when you're not eating. Give you an example. If you eat only 1 meal a day, a lot of people think that's the way for weight loss. That's the way. I'm just restricting my diet. And a lot of those people find it very hard to lose weight. It's because your body is saying, look at this guy, or look at this girl. She's not going to eat but once in a day, and I don't even know when that meal is coming. So when your body does get food, it tends to want to store it as fat because it doesn't know when the next meal is coming. And fat is a high density power source that the body can break down and use later. But if your body knows when it's going to get its next meal and it can bank on it, then it can quickly go ahead and burn off the current calories and not store as much or any of it as fat. It may not sound, let's say, intuitive or logical, but it works. Body consistent time of eating, consistent amount of eating can really make all the difference. Another trick I do is when I'm dishing meals, I use a bowl, not a plate, so I'm forced to limit how much I'm eating. It's another trick you can use. And I drink plenty of water with every meal. And if you have to snack in between meals, it should be something that has a very low glycemic index or very low chance of changing your blood sugar. The reason why we don't like to eat carbohydrates is because when we eat carbohydrates, your insulin goes up, your blood sugar goes up first, insulin follows. Insulin is a hormone that's meant to reduce blood sugar by moving glucose from in the blood to in the cell. But once the glucose is moved, your blood sugar drops, and guess what? You feel hungry again. So this is why you have a sugar rush if you drink a couple sodas, and you have a sugar rush, but you have a crash very soon afterwards. If you're eating a diet high in protein and fat, nothing wrong with, you don't want to just eat raw fat, but nothing wrong with eating beef that has fat, goat meat that has fat, chicken that has fat. When you eat a diet high in protein and fat mixed with fiber, all of that, number one, digests slowly, which keeps you from getting hungry quickly. Number two, it doesn't spike your glucose levels and therefore not your insulin levels very quickly, so you're also not getting hungry. Something that you always hear me talk about is the fight against insulin resistance. This is one of the ways we beat it. Insulin resistance is at the center of some diseases like PCOS and others, so this is another way we beat it. So eating protein, fats, and fiber can help combat that. The third benefit is that the fiber feeds your healthy microbiome in your gut, meaning the bacteria that live inside our stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and our colon, they feed off of the fiber. And you want those bacteria to be healthy because they take care of you. One, there's a saying I say that if your gut is not happy, you cannot be happy. Why? Because the bacteria in your gut, and I keep saying gut, but that's stomach, small intestine, large intestine, your digestive tract. The bacteria in your digestive tract are responsible for 90% of your serotonin. Serotonin is a hormone that helps us regulate sleep and mood, happiness and depression. So can you imagine that if 90% of it comes from here and down here is not taken care of, then how are you going to be happy? How are you going to sleep well? A lot of times this is at the center of so many disturbances, and people really don't know this fact. So we feed our gut with healthy fibers, and we reduce our insulin and therefore glucose spikes by eating food high in protein and in fats. And we try and eat during an 8-hour window during the day, and we hydrate during the other times. That's the basis of everything. I'll break down more in another video, maybe take each of the topics one by one and expound. But if you can understand those principles, do them for at least 21 days, so that now it becomes easy for you. Within a month, you should see results. 3 months later, you should not even want to turn back and go the other direction. You'll see less fat on your body, more muscle, and you'll be much happier. Thanks for joining me on this Medical Minute, and we'll see you next week.